There is a strange gravity to a certain kind of sadness, one that doesn't come with its usual sting. It feels less like an emotional injury and more like an old friend pulling up a chair to sit with you in the dark. Dictionaries call it melancholy, but as a kid, before I even knew enough English to define it, I noticed it as the song in my chest. It was 2005. The monsoon had just started in India. I had just turned 7, and on my family's brand new computer, a game was running. Its name? Max Payne. Looking back, I don't think I understood much about the game. I couldn't understand most of the words in the story, but there was something eerie about its environment, and its echoes stayed in my mind. Maybe it was the theme song that played in the menu. Maybe it was the empty streets with snow falling over them, a phenomenon I had never seen in my real life. Maybe it was how small and isolated Max seemed in the city of New York. Whatever the reason might be, I knew that what I felt, I had kept feeling it ever since I was enrolled in school. I remember asking my father a few days later, in the morning before getting ready for first grade, asking him through my childlike innocence. I sometimes hear a song in my chest, and it makes me feel sad. I do not remember what my father replied, but I can tell you now, it wasn't a song. It was a feeling of longing. The older I grew, the more often this feeling would come to sit with me. I never enjoyed my school, for I valued my freedom a lot even as a kid. The strict routines, the endless rules, the constant supervision. School often felt less like a place of learning and more like a prison, so I always felt trapped. I can't remember exactly if this happened before or after I got into video games, but on one particular day, I happened to be looking through the window. A single pigeon was taking shelter beneath a ledge from the rain pouring down on the 4-story building beside my school, and the world seemed to cry. I don't know why the moment stayed with me. Nothing of significant importance happened. Nobody spoke, and nothing had changed. And yet even today, decades later, I still sometimes think about it. At the time, I couldn't find words to describe it. All I knew was that whenever this feeling arrived, the world seemed different. Quieter, deeper, more beautiful, and somehow sadder. Years passed. I would feel it again in books, in films, in music, and in video games. But more often than not, it appeared in the ordinary moments of life. During a rainy evening, or watching the sunset while I played football alone on the rooftop of my home. Maybe in the final credits of a game I didn't want to end. Or listening to a train's whistle fade into the distance after dropping off a girl I loved. Never suspecting that it was the last time I would ever see her. It was only a year later when I realized I was bathing in melancholy. When you spend that much time living beside a feeling, you start looking for reflections of it everywhere. 2 films in particular have remained with me for years. One is a film about a man trapped with a monster in desert, which I watched in my childhood. The other is about a man trapped with a monster in the ocean, which I watched during the tumultuous phase of my adolescence. Strangely enough, both were directed by Ang Lee. There are 2 moments from these films that have always called out to me. One has to do with the eyes. On the surface, there is nothing remarkable about these scenes. If anything, it's a remarkably quiet shot. But every time I revisit them, I feel similar to what I felt staring through that classroom window as a child. An inner conflict, a tinge of sadness, a subtle hint of grief about unwanted changes that still had not settled in. There is an old saying, eyes are the window to the soul. And if melancholy has a home, I think it lives there. In both scenes, Ang Lee removes all the unnecessary noise from the world, and in that brief moment, the phrase, "show don't tell," is used like a scripture. He allows the camera to linger on those tired eyes that seem to be staring not at you but through you, a mouth slightly left open, as if whatever they have to speak, the moment's silence spoke better, showing that the real conflict in this moment isn't merely between man and monster. It is between what a person was and what they are turning into, showing those vulnerable moments in a human's life when they have to take a moment to stop and ask, not how do I survive this, but how do I carry this? These scenes acted as a reflection, a memory of a moment in time where, for me at least, it was a snapshot of my feelings about a lot of big transitions taking place in my own life. The second moment I still think about is less about the character and more about the world they inhabit. Throughout the films, we are constantly reminded how chaotic the lives of our protagonists are. Bruce Banner is haunted by a past he cannot escape. Pai Patel is stranded in the middle of an ocean, fighting for survival. Their lives up until this point are completely consumed by questions, fears, and struggles that don't seem to have a way out. But the moment the camera is allowed to drift away from our characters, we are shown from their own perspective the world that they seem to have missed amidst their struggle. A world that is beautiful, a world that is much more calmer than their minds, a world that almost feels whimsical. That horizon stretches endlessly in every direction their eyes can gaze. The ocean glows beneath the night sky, that there is endless details the closer you look. That amidst all the struggles, the world itself at large doesn't really care. What has to happen, happens. What fascinates me about these scenes is that they capture a feeling I have experienced many times throughout my own life. Moments where I had to get out of my own way. Moments when problems didn't disappear, but my attention had shifted away from them, and I would see how insignificant my existence really felt in the grand scheme of things. That, for a brief moment, the world became larger, and I became smaller. And there is a sad but gentle comfort in that notion. Sometimes, melancholy is a gentle reminder that it is fine to let go, that it is fine every once in a while to not feel like you are the center of existence. That sometimes it is fine to leave your life, which is nothing more than a leaf, to the nature of the wind carrying it. That sometimes there are no answer to life's questions, there are only experiences. Krishnamurti once said, "Sorrow ends only when there is the light of understanding. And this light is not lit by one experience or by one flash of understanding. This understanding is lighting itself all the time. Nobody can give it to you, no book, trick, teacher, or savior. The understanding of yourself is the ending of sorrow." The older I get, the less convinced I am that melancholy can be defined, at least not in the way a dictionary defines a word, for its message is far too personal and entirely subjective. Melancholy feels less like an emotion and more like a companion. Carl Jung also wrote something very similar in his famous work, The Red Book. And he states, "There is only one way, and that is your way. There is only one salvation, and that is your salvation. Why are you looking for help? Do you believe help will come from outside? What is to come will be created in you, and from you. Hence, look into yourself. Do not compare. Do not measure. No other ways like yours. All other ways deceive and tempt you. You must fulfill the way that is in you." And this way that Jung and Krishnamurti talk about comes during the strangest of times. It sits beside you during the long train journeys. It appears in old photographs of people you know who no longer look the way they once did. He is the invisible friend, 3 a.m. in the night, with whom you sometimes converse your deepest secrets to. For he too lived it alongside you. It is in the eyes of your mother, eyes that seem to more and more act as a reminder of passage of time. It is in the feeling of being alone, but without the loneliness. Perhaps that is why we have always been drawn to it. It is a feeling that doesn't demand much, but maybe has some insight to offer in return. But it is a double-edged sword. Resist it and it shall cut through you. Live inside it for too long and you might come out with the wrong message, that the past was better than the present. Perhaps that is why certain stories stay with us longer than others. Not because they make us happy, but because they teach us how to live with the feelings we struggle to name. No work in recent years has captured the spirit of melancholy better than the ending of Outer Wilds. I won't spoil the ending for people who have not played it, but those who have finished it would realize what I mean. That even though its journey brings up a lot of questions about the universe and existentialism, the core message the ending wants you to know is vastly more important. That even though the ending is bittersweet, it's more sweet than bitter. In its cheesiest of understanding, the real treasure was the friends you made along the way. That you existed at all. That impermanence is not a flaw in existence, that it is the music of life. Every passage of time is a different note, carrying a different tone, a different rhythm, and there is something profoundly beautiful about caring for things, despite knowing they cannot last forever, that the value of a moment is not determined by how long it lasts, instead, that it happened at all. For years, I thought bathing in melancholy was a flaw in my character. So much so that when I first joined college to study psychology, I felt alienated. Everyone around me seemed to radiate with sunshine. I, on the other hand, had a solemn view of the world. A few weeks into the first semester, our professor asked us to stand up one by one and share some of our struggles. Some cried, some felt overwhelmed by emotions, some couldn't even share. When it was my time to share, I realized the story I was about to share, its wounds had already healed. It had slowly healed because whenever the song in my chest played, I had given it the time and contemplation it wanted. Ultimately, bathing in melancholy is a process of making sense of life, a process not too different from what Kierkegaard famously said. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. And so, it's the emotional tax we pay for being fully present in a world that is constantly slipping through our fingers. A quiet reminder of how far we have come. A slow, internal flashback of the lives we have already left behind. It's an aching desire about an unfulfilled dream, the exact kind of desperate longing that a pixelated detective said decades ago. A ledger of his grief, The Things I Want by Max Payne. A smoke. A whiskey for the sun to shine. I want to sleep, to forget, to change the past. My wife and baby girl back, unlimited ammo and a license to kill. Right then, more than anything, I wanted her. Maybe, just maybe, melancholy is love, looking at the clock,